Awesome. So everybody's going to get a recording of today's presentation, which is fun. Social media in the summer for your school. Very easy tips for schools. And it's just me today. Hopefully you've been tuning in all school year long to our free webinars. But today you're getting me, and we had like over 170 people sign up for this. So I know it's a popular topic, and we're going to dive in. I love it that everybody's introducing themselves. Jason just joined outside of Memphis, Tanya from Oregon, and people kind of chiming in about some of the big summer events that happen in your school community. Really want you to think about those things, because obviously social media should be a big part of that, both before, during, and after, right? And so that's great that we're already thinking about those things. But we'll jump in and get started. As I go through today, you can certainly jump in with questions on the side, and that'll be great. All slides from today are going to be sent to you in addition to this recording. So I think that's always helpful, because sometimes you're like, oh, what was that idea? And sometimes it's nice just to look at the slides so you don't have to listen to me. But sometimes it's nice to be able to have the dialogue that goes along with it. So that's all going to be emailed to you today. I know there's a lot of people. It's a busy time of year, so it's tough to join live. But there are 72 of you on right now, so that's a really, really good showing. So you are definitely in the right place if this emoji is you right now. Like you're like, summer. What can I post? I don't have kids here all school or all summer long. Like, what can I do? Well, you're in the right place, because I'm sharing 19 ideas with you. I think the goal like this is, if you can at least get 3 ideas out of today, you're going to get more. But if you can just take 3 and apply those to your school, it's going to make it so much easier. And you are going to be like my daughter, Aaliyah. You're going to jump with confidence into this summer. And you are going to actually feel like, yeah, you're on top of the world, right? I got this. I got this summer thing. I don't have to stress out about it. Because actually some of this, you could, when you get a chance, once you get graduation, last day of school, all of that under your belt, you can start scheduling out and focusing on what you can post for the summer. So if you are on Twitter, which I hope you are, give a hashtag out, hashtag Social School for EDU. You could definitely tag me at Andrea Gribble. I love it when, I love to just connect, and Twitter is a great place to do that. So if you can snap a selfie right now, usually I do when I have somebody that I'm interviewing. I'm not going to grab one right now, but definitely let me know where you're tuning in from. And that's awesome, because people can actually still jump on and join live tonight, because I'm doing another presentation tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. So today I'm going to talk briefly, an introduction to who I am and why am I telling you about social media posts for schools. We're going to go through our 19 tips for social media for summer. I'm going to give you a special invite, and then we are going to have question and answer. But as I go, I want you to jump in the chat bar, and if you have questions as I go, please let me know. I can jump out of these slides and go right into Facebook or Twitter or whatever if you have questions. So certainly don't be shy. Ask those questions, and I will be sure to get those answered for you. So to start out, this is me. This is me 3 years ago. I ran my first and my last half marathon. I don't think I'm ever going to do that again. I'm, like they said, quitting cold turkey. I had my beautiful daughters there cheering me on. My husband met me at the finish line, although he came a little bit too late, and I had actually already finished, because I did better than what I thought I was going to do. But this was 3 years ago, and I did well, but this was one of the toughest times in my life. I had just gotten done selling my beautiful home. This is my house that I built when I was 24 years old, straight out of college, and built this beautiful home. And I had started this business of social media, and I started working with schools, and I was about 6 months in, and I have, I'm just gonna, somebody can't hear, so I'll go into the number. Um, I had to actually sell my house, and I had a lot of anxiety going on about, oh my gosh, am I really cut out for this? Because yeah, I had to pay the bills, and it was very, very stressful. And I came this close to taking a real job when I don't know what happened, but I just said, you know what, I can't quit now. I have to keep going. And that's why, because I made that decision, that's why I am here. So, yeah, I'm very happy. And I came up to this obstacle. I could have stopped, and luckily I found my way over it. I don't know. I think I took all of these routes as far as breaking through the wall, going under, and going over. But you know what? This little struggle in my life is probably pretty close to what you have experienced in your personal life and also with social media for your school. You run into obstacles, you think, is it even worth it? Like, people that are maybe supportive and then all of a sudden aren't, or just throw roadblocks, or something horrific happens in your community and you're like, am I really cut out for this? You can do it. I want to help you, and that's kind of why we're here today. So my company started, just with an opportunity to help out my local school. But we started 3 years ago, and we help schools create awesome social media. We want to shout from a mountaintop all the great things that are happening at our schools. So I founded this company. I did write a children's book. I have my MBA. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 6 kids, 2 daughters, 4 stepsons. I think they're at 4 different schools. And that's really where my passion comes from, is I need to stay connected to my kids. Social media lets me do that. And our team now at Social School for EDU has done over 40,000 social media posts for 40 different schools in 4 different states. And we've trained over 500 districts kind of nationwide and into Canada. So we've done a lot of training. The mission of our company, and I think the mission of any school that's sharing their story: celebrate students and connect communities. Give your community a front row seat to the incredible things going on. Hopefully you are tuned in. Well, you are now because you signed up. You get my free support. So we do a weekly blog every week. We share kind of an article. We share a challenge of the week. We share an app of the week, like to try out. We try to share great posts from other schools to get you inspired. We share a free monthly webinar like this. And you can also follow me on social media. So we have just a ton of free support out there so that you don't feel alone. We also are a business, and so we do social media management for schools. We do website management, training and coaching, and speaking. So I'm really, really passionate about helping promote the social media use in schools, and I've really fallen in love with that. As far as social media management and partner schools, I am from Woodbury, Minnesota, which is right out of the Twin Cities. I'm originally from Wisconsin. We can work with schools everywhere. So we just launched our first school in Ohio, which I'm super excited about. But we even serve a school district, and I know Brandy's listening, out in Wyoming. Wyoming has an incredible school system. I got to visit there for the first time last month. Had an amazing time meeting all the dedicated educators and really student-focused learning. Absolutely loved it. So we love to celebrate schools all over. I can't celebrate that many schools by myself, so I have a team of incredible, all women right now, a lot of stay-at-home moms that are college educated that love to stay connected with schools, and so they actually become the account managers. So we've got this great big team that helps serve schools and helps us make a bigger impression kind of across the map. And so we absolutely love what we do. So now that you know who you're talking to, and hopefully you can ask me questions and I can answer them intelligently. And I'm honest, so if I can't answer a question, I'm going to be I'm going to be good. Jessica says, thought your accent was familiar. She's from Minneapolis, but she's living in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Yeah, I am like, you'd almost think I was from Canada, but I don't have any A's. I've got a pretty strong accent. So now let's, social media for summer. First question that I always get is, how often do we have to post in the summer? We've been working really hard with our school social media to get out there and reach more people. We know the Facebook algorithm is so tricky. And so how are we going to stay in front of our community when that Facebook algorithm can get adjusted based on maybe a decrease in activity? Well, during the school year, my suggestion is, especially on Facebook, is 2 to 5 times a day that you should be posting. 5's kind of the max for Facebook. You can definitely do more on Twitter, just because that's a different type of platform. You can put more things out there on Twitter. What I'm going to say for summer, we're all about grades, right? Because we work with schools. I think if you can at least post once a day, you're going to get like an A+. At least 3 times per week. But I think after you get done with today's webinar, you're going to be like, I can totally do once a day. Because again, there are things going on in your summer. If you do some weekly features and kind of pick out one thing per day of week, it's going to be really easy to share information and to get pertinent posts out there to your community. So again, we've kind of got peak times. We like 6 a.m., lunchtime. Evening is kind of when all parents kind of catch up with social media once maybe they've gotten their kids to bed. I had one person ask, one of my account managers said, do we really still want to post at 6 a.m. because now that school's not in session, our parents, they might not be getting up. Well, a lot of our parents are probably working parents, and so they're still going to be getting up even though the kids aren't. So I still think that's a good time. But that's kind of my recommendation for how often you want to post in the summer. So how do we get to at least once a day? Well, you're going to follow some of these tips. So my first tip for you is top 10 lists or random facts about your school. Some of you still have teachers in school, and so you could do a quick brainstorm of some of these facts, like, and you could do these every Monday. You could kind of share, or every Tuesday you could share Tip Tuesday about your school district, or you could do it, subsequent days. But top things you didn't know about our school. Top 10 reasons to be a tartan. You can come up with a lot of different, ideas, and then you'd want to find an image. Always post with an image. You can post those out on social media. I really love these graphics that I'm showing you here from Hill Murray, because they're not only using a picture, which draws a lot of attention from your fans, but they're also incorporating an infographic. So basically, we draw, I gotta see, the average class size is 25. They draw students from 110 different schools. This is a private school that's close to me in Minnesota. I happen to get all of their ads, their Facebook ads, because I'm in their target market with all my kids. My kids don't go to school there, but I get to see these, and they're great ideas. So I love their marketing program. Easy to do this in a program such as Canva, which I've talked about a lot, canva.com. But you can really tell a great story. So, think about, these lists. The other thing, I was just in a strategy session with the school yesterday, and when they went to referendum, they had like 101, facts about Monroe School District, and they were sharing those once a day. So they're going to go back to that list of 101 things. They're going to find, pick a few of those top things, and then they're going to be able to share those over the summer. So pretty easy to do. You've got a lot of things to tell. Music, how many music programs do you have? How many AP credits were earned by your seniors this year? Test scores. And then just little random facts about your staff, or, there's just so many things that you can share about your school, and you need to be able to, shout those with social media. So that's my number one tip. Tip number 2, and this is one that we saw, and I'm hoping if some of you tried this last week when I got on Facebook Live. I'd love to know how many comments you got. But I got this idea from Joelle Doy at Mineral Point. She's an incredible communications person at their small little district. But she did an alumni roll call. So she just said, hey, it's time for the annual roll call. Shout out the year you graduate below. I think their small little school had maybe 150 comments. I did it for my little school that, you know, when I graduated, there's only 32 people. So it's a very small school. But I want to say we probably had close to 100 comments. When you ask easy questions like this, it's easy to answer. You know, people have a good tie. Like, they all remember their class that they graduated. Of course, when I responded to mine, I said 96, 96, 99, 99, 96, because, you know, that was the cheer that we did, right? Favorite summer activity. If you had to pick one, like, you know, swimming, biking, or kayaking, just think of easy questions. You know, what was your favorite class in school? You know, just something that is easy to answer. And once people start responding, remember, comments get you, move you up on the engagement scale. So you want to make sure to ask things that people will respond to. Easy to answer questions. So that's kind of my tip number 2. Maybe it's every week you kind of, you know, decide on a different question that you can ask. But it's got to be easy. Like, on a scale from 1 to 10, you know, well, you don't want to ask this, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you like your school lunches? I really love my school lunches, especially now as an adult, because I have to cook for myself. But anyways, you can ask easy questions like that. Those are really easy to engage. Summer tip number 3, I asked you at the beginning of this for, you know, community events or summer events. Now, some of you may have parameters around what can you promote or can't you promote on social media. So if you have a clear policy where you can't promote things that really aren't associated with the school, that's fine. However, one way to get around that might be, hey, our band is performing in the parade at noon on Sunday. You might be able to say that, and you know, that's going to help promote the event for the community. So if your kids are involved in any way, make sure that you share those. I just was at the, and I live in a small town. My kids still go to school in Wisconsin, so I'm kind of a nomad between Minnesota and Wisconsin. But I was just at the post office this morning, and I saw somebody that's really involved in the community. She's a veteran, and so she knows a lot what's going on in the community. And I said, hey, if you ever have something that's going on, you know, message me on Facebook, and, you know, because I'm the manager of the page, and I'll help promote those things. So the more that you can get yourself out there, they know that they can submit content to you, the easier it is, and then you can help share those. You can also follow, obviously, community calendars and things like that. But again, I made up this graphic last year or the year before, and I didn't put a date on the graphic because then I can reuse it, although this little guy, Quinn, he might get mad at me in a few years that I'm still using this picture. But tip number 4, contests. Okay, I didn't make this nice graphic. My graphic designer, Allison, did. But people are out doing things, experiencing things, and they might be showcasing some of your swag for your school. If you're looking for cool ideas for swag, I just shared that blog that has awesome ones. One of them was a pop socket. Check that out. I got my Social School for EDU pop socket. So anyways, that's awesome. But maybe you can have a contest about, hey, show us your Cardinal Pride. They're the hashtag Mighty Cardinals. You know, send those in to us, whether they message those into Facebook, whether you create an email address that they can send those to over the summer. You don't always have to have a prize. Sometimes just sharing their picture on social media is a prize. Sharing it on Instagram with your hashtag. But you can do contests. And I want to share this idea with you, is sharing special stories of how the school has impacted you. So this is, let's see if I can, Let me share just what this was kind of a take on the challenge. Very simple for people to do. I hope you heard that okay. But she just challenged another family. And so it was kind of like the ice bucket challenge, but it was all about, okay, yeah, you couldn't hear it. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I know why, because I have to switch the audio. And I have a video a little bit later, so I will switch that. But she just said, hey, I love Calvin because of the friends I made there. I challenge another family. So they changed this in, they put this into a whole challenge, a summer series for their school. And again, I'll send you a link to the video so you can check that out. But an easy to do contest like that, incredible. And it doesn't have to be long videos. Summer tip number 5, hashtag motivational Monday. And there's a lot of hashtag, for days of the week that you can do. But if you have great photos from this school year, what about putting a nice quote on them? And then we love to add the hashtag for the school and putting those out every Monday. Hey, have a great week. It kind of gets everybody off on the right foot. And you can be promoting your school and maybe some of your different activities. Here's an awesome one of basically, kind of a summer picture, and never, ever underestimate the importance of having fun. So hashtag motivational Monday. First, you find great photos. Then what I do is I search Pinterest for quotes. So it's like, hey, I might want to have something about, learning and fun or summer. And then I use Canva or any kind of other app to create a photo with the quote on top of it. So if you don't want to get that fancy, you can always put the quote right in the post. So that would be awesome. But easy tip, you can schedule these out. I hope that you're using Facebook scheduling or something like Hootsuite, things like that. But yeah, you can definitely schedule those out ahead of time and be set and be like, okay, once a day, like I already got Monday set. I'm going to do a contest every Wednesday, so I know I got that set. It just makes it very, very easy to schedule things out for the summer. Tip number 6, this is a fun one. Sometimes we don't realize, like, I really love seeing all the metrics that we have for social media posts. It's really hard to believe, but, we've actually had a Facebook post reach like 270,000 people. Maybe it was 240. I'm sorry, 240. I don't want to exaggerate too much. 240,000 people on Facebook. That's incredible. But even if you're a page of 1,000 fans and you get a post that reaches 20,000 people, like that's a big deal. And our community doesn't realize that. So what I want to suggest is, what if you had some top posts from the school year? Now, Mineral Point, again, an example from my friend Joelle, she did the year in review back at the end of December. But now that it's the end of the school year, what if we kind of did our whole school year in review and said, oh my gosh, do you remember back to August or September when we had that big football win and that post, reached 15,000 people? You could do that maybe on like a hashtag Flashback Friday. And then again, we want you to share the metrics. So how do you do that in Facebook? Go to your Insights tab, and you can actually go and select posts halfway down. And in the middle of that page, there is a reach column. So you got your published posts, what post it was, the type, targeting reach. If you click on reach, it'll actually auto arrange those from biggest reach to lowest reach. Now, it only goes back about 3 months. Okay, and so we do quarterly report cards, so that works out awesome because it goes back 3 months and we can see what the top posts are. So you can see that, we had one post reach over 5,000 people, another one reach over 4,500 people. But that's an easy way to find out, okay, which posts reach the most people. And this is just kind of a close-up. It also shows not only how many people it reached, but the engagement. And you can even click on this to get more metrics, like what were some of the comments that were made on these specific posts. And so you can get all of that. The other option, if you remember, like, oh my gosh, that one post really, of that live Christmas program that really hit a lot of people, you can go to your posts tab, and over here you have a search, like a keyword search. Type in a word that you might remember that you posted. It'll bring up every post that had those words in there. So if you've never used this or didn't know, this is going to be super helpful, especially like when you're looking for a specific photo, and hopefully you're posting a lot of photos on there. So just to page through all of your photos gets really long. Well, if you go to posts and you type in, it'll make it really easy to find. So if it was a staff feature, or some kind of a post that you need to find, you want to find the picture, you can just type it in there. So I'm hoping that helps. The other thing is and I always want to stress the importance of metrics. Breaks my heart a little bit. I just got an email back from somebody that said they were unsubscribing today because their position as a community communications coordinator has been cut. That sucks, because communication is so important. When budgets are tight, which I know they are all over, communication is even more important than ever for your school. How do you stress the importance of what you're doing? You got to show metrics. And so we do a quarterly report card for all of our schools. This happened to be one where we were doing once a month. But here you can see like how our Facebook fans is going up. How many thousands of people are we reaching every single week? Up to 45,000 people that we're reaching just with Facebook. And then we try to say, hey, our top posts. So of course, winter, weather delays. They had a pie face challenge that reached 6,000 people. So we like to highlight what are some of the top posts. And that makes it really easy, because now I can go over our quarterly report cards and I can find some of those posts. So fun thing that you might not realize, but like you already have all the content. It's just looking through there, sharing those out, giving people kind of an insider track. Tip number 7 is probably pretty obvious: summer school. We have to show these cute pictures of these kids, maybe at some of your middle school and even high school. But if they're in, doing different activities, we want to make sure we showcase those. Pictures are great. Video is better. Live video is the best. So if you can do Facebook Live, that is awesome. Your parents are feeling a little bit guilty. They're not out, hanging out with their kids themselves. But to see them live on a Facebook video of showing the incredible, fun they're having, that's important. And so hopefully you have started playing around with Facebook Live. If you haven't, each of us probably has, let's admit it, a little bit more time during the summer versus the winter or the school year. And so if you have, if you haven't played around with Facebook Live, now is the perfect time. And you can just do it. Like you can, obviously letting people know ahead of time is better. But even if you just go live, people get notified, and it's awesome. So what's your take on posts over the summer asking for help from parents and community members to contact legislators in the state to push for legislation or budget items that will help the school or education budget for the following school year? Is that too controversial? Julio, that's a great question. I'm going to probably say that's too controversial to put out on Facebook. We like to think of social media as like rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes you are going to have to deliver some tough news or, things like that on social media. I think kind of lobbying for those types of things should probably happen in like a PTO meeting or school board meeting where you're asking for help from parents. I probably would stay away from that on your school Facebook page. So that's my recommendation. If somebody else has a different opinion, you can certainly put that out there. But gosh, we got a lot of people that follow our pages that maybe aren't as supportive. And it's tough, about deleting comments. It is free speech, but if you're promoting some of those things, somebody that is against those things might get on there and be mad if you delete the comment. So I would probably stay away from that, but that's a great question. Summer school, how about an empty classroom? You miss your kids. or, you know, different things. And so it's fun to be able to post just those. And especially as, you know, teachers are in their classrooms getting ready for the next school year, which, you know, happens pretty soon to after, you know, school lets out. Those pictures are great to share with your community that, hey, we really miss you. Tip number 9, how about teacher updates? This is an awesome picture, obviously in the summertime. You know, in Minnesota and Wisconsin, that's about mid-July when the water's finally warm. But hey, if they're on summer vacations, that's great to be able to share those things. Professional development, a lot of professional development goes on in the summer. I think that's great to share with your community that, hey, it's not just summers off. Your teachers do a lot of preparing for the upcoming school year during the summer months. So let's share those out. So make sure that your staff, that, hey, if you're doing something fun on a vacation, professional development, send those pictures in. Hopefully you have a social media address, email address that makes it really easy to submit that stuff to, or however you have them submit that content. But then you can share that out on your social media pages. If you're planning for next year, again, if you're decorating your classroom, any of that stuff is great to be able to share and connect with your staff and your community. I didn't have an example of a video here, but you know that craze, well, I don't even get it, like that pearl where they open the pearls and then they send, I don't even know what it is on social media. I skip past those, but videos of opening boxes are like engaging, like, oh my gosh, what's in this box? Well, my mom happens to be the secretary at our school and she orders all the supplies. How cool would it be to have a little video like, oh, I wonder what's in this box. And it's like all these textbooks, right, for the next year or whatever. Just think behind the scenes, like what goes on during the summer to get ready for next school year. Okay, we are opening boxes. Okay, we're waxing the floor. We're mowing the grass. We're, you know, redoing this bathroom. We're, you know, doing a lot of different things. So just think behind the scenes that you could share with your audience. And again, video is pretty engaging. Just a good way to connect and show people. You might not think it's that exciting. Try it. Just try it. See how it does. If it doesn't do well, don't do more of it. That's why we look at metrics. Tip number 11, how about feature your year-round staff? You know, not everybody gets their summers off. And so I think it's really cool to showcase those staff members. And, you know, my mom happens to be one of those. We do a weekly staff feature for a lot of our school districts that we serve. But what about, you know, giving a shout out to, hey, Jan, you know, Jan, our business manager, works year round and she's here, you know, figuring out whatever. Usually those accounting people and business managers are facing auditors during the summer months. But it's just nice to kind of showcase those people that are still there, or principals, or even new staff that's coming on board, making sure that you're giving good intros to them as they get started. We have a lot of new administrators that are starting July 1st. Make sure that you're giving introductions to those people. They might not like it, just one simple photo and just a little bio. It doesn't have to be a long thing. It can just be like, hey, Mr. Smith is so excited to be joining, you know, our community as the principal. He can't wait to meet you come back to school time. So that's another tip. Tip number 12 is artwork. So you may still have artwork up in your school. Take your phone, take some pictures of it, share those out. I mean, maybe it's an, I don't know, art of the week, artwork of the week. And it's, you know, Joni made this awesome, you know, picture. I'm not sure how she created this one from, that was of Wisconsin. It's a really cool picture. Just showcasing some of that artwork from our students is awesome. So easy to do, easy, snap a bunch of pictures. You have them on your phone, schedule them out, and you don't have to think about them anymore. You're going to have that post for that day. Lost and found items. If you wanted to take a picture, and believe it or not, like those things are going to be spread, because as a parent, if you see that Under Armour sweatshirt and you know it's little Joey's, or you know that some mom is going to want to see it, you're likely to share it and say, hey, is this anybody's? Because these things are going to get, I don't know if they throw them away. I don't really know what happens to lost and found items, or if they just like accumulate and grow year over year over year. But you could definitely post some of those lost and found items. Tip number 14, where are you reading? Unique reading spots. I've seen some really cool posts. So it's almost like a contest, but it's just, hey, where are you reading? What are you reading? Maybe it's an easy to answer. Hey, how many books have you read so far? Ways to just keep in touch with, learning over the summer, because we know that there's a summer slide, right? Because a lot of kids maybe are taking a break. If we can positively encourage them and show pictures of their friends reading, they might be more likely to do it too. So that's great. Another thing that I didn't share as a specific slide, but would be just tips on how to incorporate learning over the summer months. So maybe it's not just always images like this, but maybe it's an article. You find a nice article about educating in the summer or fun activities to do in the summer that can, promote family time. Those would be really awesome to be able to share on your school's page. So that's my tip number 14. You'll be surprised, but the school supply list, that is going to get you some traction. So, as soon as you have your school supply list out, obviously it should be front and center on your website. You can definitely link to your website from social media, but you want to get that out there, and you want to, I hope that there's not back to school stuff in the stores already, or I might scream, but they start really early. So like as soon as the 4th of July stuff gets cleared out, back to school stuff gets put in. And so the sooner you can put that school supply list out for your parents and your students, the better. And post a few times, okay? Schedule that out a few different strategic times. That's going to get you a lot of reach. Another thing that you probably already have is your district calendar for next year. So that's really important. And I love this one. Gosh, Joelle, your ears are like ringing. But I found hers. It's really nice and color-coded. But just a PDF link, we always do a Google link to those calendars, or if it's on your website, link them back to your calendar. And it's important. Like I'm already thinking about, okay, when is the first day of school next year? Oh, good. It actually is September 5th. So it is after Labor Day. But sometimes they start before Labor Day. So people like to know that. So very important to get that news out there now and mix that in with your posts over the summer. Very easy posts to do. Tip number 17, your school or students hopefully have summer jobs. So how fun is it to share photos of kids and their summer jobs? I know this little kid, he's 8th grade. Well, he's not little anymore. He mows lawns. I mean, he is killing it with, seriously pulling in I think he's pulling in about $500 a week on his lawn mowing jobs. And how cool to be able to showcase our students in our community, working, contributing, having fun. Obviously, this was taken on Snapchat, and they shared that. But how fun for them to share that with you. So make it easy for people to share those types of things, and then shout those out. We should be able to celebrate our students in getting jobs and raising their own money so they can buy their own stuff, which I'm convincing my daughter to do, even though she's only in 6th grade. But hey, she can start babysitting. Back to school tips. Okay, 10-day feature on back to school tips, where to go to get certain things. Remember like the first time you had to go into like middle school and you had to switch classes? You only have 3 minutes. Like how cool would it be of, kind of walking through what a 3-minute transition period, and I've got to get from, math class down to shop class. How am I going to do it? Now this video on how to do a combination lock, it reached tens of thousands of people. So bear with me right now. I'm going to switch over my audio.
Hey Raiders, this is Miss Langhorne, Dean of Students. Hey, we're going to get our locks this Tuesday, so I want you to know how to open up your lock. Watch. All right, pretty simple. Combination, maybe your combination is 10, 15, 30. You want to clear it, turn to the right, drive to the right, and stop on 10. And then you want to drive to the left. The second number is 15. You got to pass it once. Here's 15. I'm passing it once. I land on 15. Then I'm going to drive to the right to 30. Drive to the right, 30. And bam, your lock will open. Good luck, Raiders.
Okay, hopefully I'm back now. Did anybody notice, like, she didn't have it locked? I wonder if she, like, didn't want to not have it open. What a simple idea. I mean, this was shared not just because it was important to her students, but it went kind of viral because it was important to all students everywhere. So think about that. Think about those little things that could really help people and help your students with things. And so I really love that. That's a good, great, brilliant idea. Tip number 19, just think about reusable graphics. The reason I kind of bring this one up is because you always have to have an image. You got a little bit more time now that it's summer versus the rest of the school year. So creating some of these reusable images is important. We customize them for our district. You can make them in things like Canva. I've got a graphic designer that makes these. But basically, we make them so that we could put anything. Cancellation, summer school announcement, parent-teacher conferences. Don't forget, no school tomorrow, concert tonight. Anything that you can write basically over this, but it's totally branded for your school. I'm a parent. I don't have a lot of time to scroll through Facebook. I'm not going to any more baseball games, so that was a lot of time where I would spend on Facebook instead of watching my stepsons play baseball. That's not a good parenting thing. But when you scroll through and all of a sudden this catches your eye, this Colfax Pride, because, hey, this is something for the school, that's important. And it's really good to be able to have those things that people recognize as yours. And then they read the post, and then maybe it links them to something else about the school year starting, or summer school, or whatever it is. Hey, I need to pay attention. So reusable graphics, I think that's a great thing to focus on now that it's summer. Okay, 19 tips. Like, I'm worn out, and I'm doing pretty good for time. It's 11:43 Central. If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, that was a lot of great tips, but it's just like the tip of the iceberg, right? When you think about social media in schools, okay, there's a lot to think about. I know this because on my blog, I have been blogging every week for over 2 years. So I have over 100 blogs on my website. But, this is kind of just the tip. And I have to tell you, I have, over the last several years, I've been doing in-person workshops, mainly across Wisconsin, a little bit across Minnesota, okay, bringing you away from your jobs to a spot where you can just focus on social media. You can network with each other, get great ideas, try things out, really get hands-on help, okay? I love doing this, but it's tough to do. It's been very beneficial. I love this one because Amber joined us for one of our spring workshops, and you guys might be able to relate as only a part-time communications coordinator who wears many hats in my school. It was great to get tips that will help me be the most effective with the little time I can spend on social media. We know what it's like because you're probably a lot like Amber. So that was really cool. But what I found is we work specifically with 4 different states, but now, you guys saw in the notes, we are helping people from all over North America and Canada too. And I can't drive or fly to all of these places. So how can I be most effective? I was really scratching my head, and it kind of came to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to bring all these people together in a summer camp, specifically for social media people, because who wouldn't you want to hang around with around a campfire but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube? I mean, it's just kind of the place to be. So this 1-day virtual event is happening in July. I tried to pick a day that I didn't think, you were going back to school quite yet. I know it's in the middle of summer, but it's tough to get you guys any time of the year. And so I had to pick a day of a virtual camp. Now, to tell you a little bit more about it, we've already got over, I think, 60 people registered for this event. But to explain it a little bit more, I invited my friend Melissa to tell you a little bit about it. I love Melissa. And so hang on one second while I turn her on.
Hey, I'm Melissa McConnell at EdTech Mac, and I'm the communications specialist for the Belton School District in Missouri. I'm here to tell you why you won't want to miss the upcoming social media summer camp at the end of July. One, it's hosted by Andrea Gribble. Hello. If you don't already follow her on Twitter, Facebook, get her newsletter, and well, everywhere else they are, you are missing out. FOMO should be the emotion you're feeling. Social School for EDU has been invaluable to me as a new-to-school PR person. I have been in education for over 20 years, and I can say learning from other adults isn't always comfortable or easy. Oh, Andrea busts that theory. She makes you feel like a next-door neighbor sharing an idea for something you just have to try. Who wouldn't love that? So let's break it down. Social. Seriously. Guest Kristen Majette wrote a book on it. School. Well, duh. Joe Sanfilippo is the principal for a school. He knows how to connect admins and school PR. 4. Well, there are 4 letters in Ohio, and, well, Shane Haggerty lives there. Honestly, that was a lame segue, but Shane is not lame. You are going to love learning from him about Facebook advertising. E makes me think about Peel School Board up in Canada. No joke. Look them up and you won't be disappointed, and you will know why Carla Pereira was asked to be a part of this group. D, deep breaths. In a crisis, deep breaths are par for the course. Thankfully, Leslie Brewington from Alabama will be giving us all ideas to make sure those deep breaths don't turn into sudden gasps because we forgot something critical in a crisis. You need to join in this camp, or at least take a look at what Andrea and her team share freely with the school PR community. If you can't afford to participate in the virtual awesomeness that's going to occur, at least know this. They realize, recognize, and revitalize what we do through sharing with no strings attached. We all get better at our craft, which means we can all improve what we do for the benefit of all kids.
Awesome, Melissa. Thank you so much for sharing. She got super creative. So quick, before we get to Q&A, the camp is happening July 26th, 11 to 5. It's virtual, okay? It's a virtual 1-day summer camp. She kind of broke down the speakers. Carla's going to be talking about guidelines for staff, social media use on and off the job. Every speaker also has a 1-page PDF handout, and you're going to get the recorded versions of all of the presentations. So that's really important, because if you wanted to use it later to showcase maybe to some of your other staff, you're going to have access to that, okay? So she's going to talk about social media use on and off the job. Joe Sanfilippo, if you've never heard him speak, oh my gosh, you are missing out, but he is a superintendent, and he's developing, social media superheroes in your school. How can we really empower all of our staff to feel enabled, energized with social media? And he's going to do that. Kristen Majette, I talk about her all the time. She's going to talk about leading your school community to really embrace social media. She's all about getting the framework on the base, policies, procedures, managing for risk. She's going to walk us through that. And every presentation has Q&A time. 30-minute presentation and then 30 minutes for Q&A. We are going to get every question answered live for you, and so that's going to be awesome. Leslie Brenton is awesome. She's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. She's going to talk about navigating social media in a crisis. If you haven't had a social media crisis yet, you're going to. It's just bound to happen. I mean, whether a tragedy happens, whether something really good happens, whether somebody broadcasts something from your community that you wish they wouldn't have broadcast, I mean, it's going to happen. She's going to walk us through how to take the right steps, think things through, like Melissa said, like breathe deeply, and react in the right way. Shane is oh my gosh, he's so incredible, from Ohio. He's going to break down pay to play on Facebook. This is something I am not an expert on. I'm going to be taking notes very, very tediously through his presentation, but how could we use Facebook advertising to expand our reach? We know our organic reach is going down on Facebook. For very affordable, sometimes $5, $10, $20, you can reach a much wider audience. So he's going to really break that down step by step. And then, of course, I'm going to be with you all day. I'm kind of the MC, hosting, getting your questions answered, and then just kind of talk about, okay, now that we got all this information, how do we go out and be that beacon for our school of just, taking social media and running with it? And so it's going to be awesome. We're really going to help your school embrace social media. We're going to have strategies to maximize your reach, obviously the crisis management, and ultimately connecting more closely with all these other school PR people. It's happening Wednesday, July 26th, 11 a.m. to 5 Eastern. You might not be able to join the whole day live. That's okay. We've got a schedule out that you'll be getting so you know who's speaking when. But you're going to get all the recordings, and they're going to be separated by topic. And so you're going to get all of that with a workbook. This is for teachers. This is for superintendents. This is for school PR people, maybe even a coach or PTO group who's using social media. I mean, this is for anybody involved in social media in schools. Holy cow, all that stuff, only $197. You can sign up right now, camp.socialschoolforedu.com, camp.socialschoolforedu.com. I'm also going to email out the registration link, okay? But I've got a bonus. So if you sign up before this Friday at midnight, Friday, June 2nd, so if you're listening to this recording and you're like, oh my gosh, it's already June 2nd. If you sign up before Friday, June 2nd, I am going to give you a free customized graphic. I don't know about you, but I'm not a graphic designer, but I've got an awesome one on my team. We're going to customize one for your school for free. This is a big value. It's almost $197 value on its own. We're going to give it to you for free. What if you can't attend the camp but would like the recordings? Do we still have to pay the $197? After the camp, we are probably going to make those recordings available, but I can't promise it's going to be cheaper than the $197. So my recommendation right now is, if you want to grab hold of these, that just if you register, you're going to get all of that stuff for free. You're going to be a part of a community of getting ready, being connected with all these people. So I would really invite you to get registered, and then you're going to have access to everything. I didn't really think about that beforehand, but I'm going to promise that you're not going to be able to get these recordings, all 5 of these recordings, for any cheaper than $197 once it happens after the fact. So the cheapest you're going to be able to get is $197. So sign up. You're going to get a lot of value. You're going to go to this website. You're going to hit register now. Now, so you can pay by credit card or PayPal, but if you need a PO and you need to mail a check, because some schools you need to do that instead of paying with a credit card, you got to just email me, okay? The email reminder that you got for today's webinar, you could just reply to that and say, hey, Andrea, I need a PO, and I can get you that. And as long as you give it to me by Friday, you're still going to get the free graphic. It's only $197. If you attract or retain one student, that means thousands of dollars for your school. Social media, there's never been a platform like it to reach not just your community, but beyond, to tell your story. It's very, very important to tell your story, and this is the cheapest you're going to be able to get for a valuable PD. Register, and you know, you're not going to regret it. If you don't find this training valuable, I'm going to give you 100% of your money back, and it's right on the sales page. I will give you 100% of your money back if you are not happy. So you don't have to be on this island. We're not all alone. You're like in your space, your tribe of people that school, social media, you talk about reach, engagement, impressions. People start looking at you and like they're like head twitches because they're like, oh my gosh, I can't even think about that. You don't have to be on this island anymore. You can join up with us and we're going to circle up. I promise you that it is going to be fun because all these people are going to be in your back pocket and not just me. But I really grabbed the pros that do this day in and day out for their school. And they're from all across North America, which is super duper cool. So with that, questions. I didn't get a lot of questions over. I kind of asked a couple of them, but we still have over 50 people live. What other questions might you have about posting over the summer? You might have about social media summer camp, or if you have just another question that you have been struggling with, I want to help get that answered. So please just chat that in the chat bar over to the right. While you're thinking about a couple questions, I just want to come up with, this is one that two questions I get a lot of, but this one issue has come up for multiple people, and I want you to change it today if you don't have it changed already. Facebook pages have to be linked to a personal account. If you created a personal account that sounds a lot like a school name, you are likely to get locked out of that account and lose access to your page. Just had it happen to somebody else. And so now they can't access their school page. Please, please, please. Your personal page, yes, you get access to your school page through there, but it's not linked in any other way. It makes it so much easier to manage your school's Facebook account when it's linked to your personal Facebook page than having a generic page that you have to log in and out of to manage your social media. Facebook Page Manager app, I use it all the time. It looks like this, and the little orange flag right there. I am administrator of a lot of pages because we serve over 30 schools right now. So I have a lot of notifications on there, but Facebook Page Manager, it's so much easier if you are logged in or an administrator through your personal account. If you ever leave the school, you can assign somebody else an administrator and remove yourself. It's not always tied to your account. Used to be that way, not now. Facebook changes all the time. Facebook changes daily, right? And we keep up with it. So that's number one. Number two is just merging pages. Facebook, there's a lot of competition for the Facebook algorithm, and I strongly recommend a strong district presence before you have individual schools. And if you already have individual schools, and these two elementary schools are rocking it, these two schools post once every 2 months. The middle school posts maybe 2 times a week. Just think if you combine all that activity into one strong district presence, keep your different Twitter school pages, okay? But Facebook pages, I think is really important because of the algorithm that you kind of merge that presence together, especially because I'm a mom of 6, and if I have to follow all these different pages, it can get confusing. So anybody out there, 50 people out there, do you have any questions that you want to get answered at all? It's kind of going once, twice, because otherwise I'm going to wrap this up, and we're right at 11:59, which is awesome. But before I kick off the call, anybody have any questions at all? Let's see, anybody typing in anything? Any way we can regain access if you do get kicked out of Facebook? I don't know, Casey. The gal that emailed me is trying to contact Facebook, but you don't, there's not a 1-800 Facebook number, so it's really, really tough. I am working on a access point to somebody that meets with Facebook on a weekly basis, actually, and I'm trying to get an in to get some of these questions answered, and I promise I will continue to do that. I just don't have an answer right now of how to regain access if you get kicked out. I really recommend that you get other people assigned as Facebook page administrators, and obviously, that's easy to do when you have access to it. Just to go into your settings. Let's see here. how fast this is. But you know, when you go into your settings, and page roles is right there, and you know, you can add people as an editor or as an admin, and oh yeah, he was we connected one of our live streaming things right in with Facebook, and so that's why Michael's on there now. But you know, you can have different administrative rights, but you know, admins have the ultimate say, and so we have a few people always that are admins, and so that's important. And again, just because Allison and I are both admins, I can't see what Allison puts on her personal page. I can't access anything on her personal stuff. I just see her picture and I know she's an admin of the page. So that's really important. Any other questions out there? I'm going to hit stop. I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. Tune into your inbox so that you can get a chance to sign up. I'll have a direct link to sign up for camp, camp.socialschoolforedu.com. And hit